Welcome to F&I Today. I'm your host, Becky Chernick. I'm so happy you're able to join us today. You know, I've been in the automotive industry for over 30 years and in finance and insurance since 1989. I founded Chernick Consulting in 2001, and I provide current and up-to-date best practices in F&I training, offering workshops, in-dealership implementation for automotive dealers throughout North America. My goal is to help you to significantly boost profits utilizing innovative upfront sales strategies. It's a pleasure to be here with you. So does the fish rot from the head down, and are you the reason for the lackluster performance in your dealership? No matter what 20 group you're in, NADA or NCM, there will always be that bottom feeder, the dealer with the lowest performance. However, the reason behind being a part of that 20 group to begin with is to compare stories, performance, and implement these best practices, policy, and procedures that will help drive a higher performance. So what are some of the dealers doing that you're not doing? And why do some dealers just outperform the others? These dealers are always selling more cars, have the highest product penetration in PVR, and they don't seem to miss the beat. They are running at all 8 cylinders. The chargebacks are in line, they have a clean CIT, and their CSI is out the roof. Is it because they just got lucky and happened to hire a talented sales or F&I professional? Now, on the other hand, you might be saying to yourself, I'm constantly chasing sales and F&I people because of excessive turnover in the departments, and I can't figure out why. The F&I person you have is complacent, and they can't sell his or her way out of a wet paper bag. Sound like you? So what's up? They say that the fish rots from the head down. After being in dealerships across the country, sadly, I happen to agree. Dealers must face the cold, hard facts and be held accountable for their inefficiencies, poor decisions, or for going along with the status quo. We've been doing business like this for years. Positive change can never occur if you sugarcoat it. It's on you if you allow these bad habits and complacency. You don't inspect what you expect. You fly from the seat of your pants with little to no direction. You're spinning wheels and not getting anywhere. Adhering to these best practices that are being implemented 100% of the time creates a winning combination. Those who aren't willing to follow along with the way you want to do business, they gotta go. It's your way or the highway. You have to incorporate your own set of rules of engagement, best practices, policy, and procedures that are mandated and executed 100% of the time. Don't be a victim of a new manager bringing in bad habits from a previous dealership. These one-armed bandits often create chaos, sometimes more than what they're worth, and are notorious for breaking down a solid team. That's difficult to recover from. All these guys will sell you on these brilliant ideas, how they'll save the day, sell you more cars, or increase that F&I profit. But these modern marvels of the world are often responsible for tearing down any progress you might have had in place until you figured out they were full of hot air and empty promises. It happens a lot more than what it should, and it kills that momentum and tramples on achievement and success. Stop the madness. If it sounds too good to be true, it's too good to be true and sets you up for disaster every time. Shortcuts won't cut it. There is no such thing as a magic bullet. It's about a plan and taking action. It isn't sexy, it's real. Turnover happens when sales and finance people lose faith in the leadership and are not held to the highest standards. You are inconsistent with your policy and procedures, and you allow the chosen few allegiance. You're a fly-by-night thought leader with no sense of direction, and you change on a dime. No one is held accountable for their actions, and this causes a breakdown in communication, decrease in units sold, profits earned that ultimately affects income. Talented professionals, they're not going to stick around. They refuse to tolerate this sort of conduct. It's unprofessional attitude. They don't have to, and you can't hire fast enough to fill the gap. It's a disaster. It's a vicious cycle that costs you dearly. It's the incremental steps that create winners and opportunity. Each step you take must include every team member that follows the same set of rules and action plan. This will gain results. Success may not happen overnight, and there is no such thing as that magic bullet, But being consistent with a well thought out plan and adhering to these policy and procedures are key to measurable results. So for an example, if you happen to be a modified Foursquare store, stick to your guns and make it a point to train every sales associate on how to effectively present a worksheet as if it were a menu. Don't be wishy-washy with your process. Be all in. Understand that your sales process must support your F&I process. The two go hand in hand, and flying by the seat of your pants never gains you lasting results. Throwing deals into the F&I office on a whim seldom wins and always creates more headaches than what they're worth. F&I has to be held accountable to certain standards and practices as well. F&I should absolutely meet with a customer on their terms at the salesperson's desk, and I've said it time and time again. And I do not know why, especially the dealers who have this low F&I performance, wouldn't insist that their F&I manager meets with every customer at the salesperson's desk, conducts a complete needs analysis, and validates the transaction prior to bringing the customer in the F&I office for delivery. Just this activity alone would increase the performance by as much as $200 per car. It would also help to assure that the customer is in and out of that F&I office on a timely basis. Darwin is a new digital menu provider and it's gaining traction. The dealers who are using Darwin swear by it and are achieving a high F&I performance. And if you ask me why, it's because Darwin doesn't play around. The digital menu ensures that the F&I manager can't take shortcut. It forces the interview. It does what the F&I manager won't do. Best practices start with the dealer. They insist that the F&I manager is meeting with every customer prior to delivery and presenting 100% of the menu 100% of the time. Inspect these menus inside and out. I often found that the lowest F&I performers seldom meet with the customer and conduct this interview. Their menus are sterile. There's no sign of an actual presentation. You can't find an ink mark anywhere. They use this menu as a declination or waiver form. They wouldn't know how to overcome an objection if their life depended on it. If I was a dealer and my performance was dismal, I would audit every one of those menus to find out what's happening, or better yet, what's not happening. If you operate your business with a blind's eye, ignoring the inevitable, it's going to cost you every time. Remember, seeing is believing. Audit your deals. Perhaps it's not the F&I person. Maybe it's how the deals get pitched into that F&I office that distracts your F&I manager or diminishes their performance. The fault lies on you if you are treating your F&I person as a glorified secretary to clean up everyone's deals because you don't insist that the salesperson turns in a deal with a proper checklist. I do not know why this is such an issue today, probably more so than ever before. What's going on and why don't you do something about it? So when I was in F&I, the deal never made its way into that F&I office unless it was straight. So I mentioned this on a previous episode, but can someone tell me please what happened to the buyer's order or purchase agreement? Why don't you have a buyer's agreement signed by the customer and sales manager before the deal makes its way into the F&I office? The sales manager works off an e-pencil and submits the deal electronically into F&I. Meanwhile, the numbers are wrong, the customer didn't agree to the figures, information isn't complete, and the chance of selling the wrong vehicle is highly probable. Why is this allowed to happen, or worse yet, continue to happen? You wonder why you can't seem to increase the F&I profits or hold on to talented F&I people for long. Who in their right mind would stay in a dealership that operates so poorly or so inefficient? Sales managers must be held accountable. The deals need to be straight. The checklist must be completed and signed. F&I is not a glorified secretary. So instead of pointing fingers at the F&I department, perhaps do some due diligence and take the monkey off their back and get the paperwork right the first time. Give them the opportunity they need to be successful in today's marketplace. What might have worked years ago may not today. Now, if you're the dealer at the bottom of the food chain, do you have a process in place that is being implemented 100% of the time? Do you allow excuses? Do you inspect what you expect? Do you have a consistent process that speaks to the way you do business? Or is your process passed down from the unsuccessful dealer down the street? If you keep doing what you've been doing and expecting a different result, you gotta ask yourself why. A process that is implemented and executed 100% of the time will get you results every time. The fish does rot from the head down, but that doesn't have to be the case. Positive change can happen. It takes a leader to affect the change and insist on these best practice policy and procedures that are implemented, take action, and are measured every time. There is no magic pill. It will take effort and a strong commitment to see it through. Well, thank you for joining me on F&I Today. Be sure to come back next week right here on the CBT Automotive Network for our next edition of F&I Today. Also, feel free to contact me regarding my consulting services. My specialty is providing F&I training, helping auto dealers achieve high levels of performance and profit by improving these internal processes that begin the moment the customer touches down on the dealership website and ends with finalizing in-person transactions in F&I. Also, for our CBT automotive dealers, contact me about my complimentary one single store online analysis and take your business to the next level.